Nobody told you that you were being trained. There were no classrooms, no teachers, no curriculum, just a childhood that asked too much of you, too early, and a brain that quietly adapted in order to survive it. And now you walk through the world with a kind of intelligence that most people will spend their entire lives trying to develop and never quite reach. Not because they are not capable, but because they were never put through what you were. Psychologists call it traumatic intelligence. And once you understand what it actually is, you will never look at your past the same way again. 1. You can read a room before anyone says a word. You walk in somewhere and something shifts inside you immediately. A tension in someone's posture. A micro-expression that crosses a face for less than half a second. An energy that does not match what everyone is pretending. You caught all of it before you even sat down. This is not intuition in any mystical sense. This is pattern recognition, built by a brain that learned early that scanning your environment for emotional data was not optional. It was how you stayed safe. Your nervous system was trained by circumstances most people never had to face. And it made you fluent in a language most people cannot even hear. 2. You sense when something is wrong with someone before they know it themselves. They say they are fine, but something in you already knows they are not. You feel the shift in their energy before they have processed it. You notice the thing they almost said before they swallowed it back down. Psychologists call this hyperempathy. And it develops in people who spent formative years needing to track the emotional states of the people around them very carefully. You learn to feel others because your environment required it, and now you do it automatically in every room, with every person, whether you want to or not. 3. When everything falls apart around you, something in you goes calm, not numb, not detached, calm, strategic, clear. While others freeze or spiral, you adapt. You assess. You move. Researchers describe this as stress inoculation. Your brain was calibrated early to handle high-stakes situations because high-stakes situations were simply your normal. Crisis does not break you the way it breaks people who were never prepared for it, because you were prepared, not by choice, but by everything you survived before you were old enough to understand what surviving meant. 4. You think about people, almost compulsively. Why did they say that? What did they really mean? What were they feeling that they could not say out loud? You replay conversations. You analyze behavior. You search for the meaning underneath the meaning. This depth of psychological thinking was not something you chose. It was forged by years of trying to understand people whose behavior felt unpredictable and sometimes unsafe. You became a student of human nature because understanding people felt essential to your survival. And now you understand them in ways that genuinely surprise even the people who know you best. Okay, pause for a second, because I want to say something that most videos on this topic skip over. Everything described so far, the perceptiveness, the empathy, the calm under pressure, the compulsive understanding of people. These are not weaknesses repackaged as strengths to make you feel better about a difficult past. They are real, measurable, documented in psychological research across multiple decades and cultures. Your brain was genuinely shaped by what you went through. And the shaping produced something extraordinary. The cost was real, but so was what it built. 5. You are self-reliant in a way that quietly surprises people. You do not wait to be rescued. You build solutions, independently, quietly, without announcing what it cost you. This self-sufficiency developed because dependence once felt genuinely risky. When the environment around you was not reliably safe or supportive, your brain made competence the default. You learned to be your own stability because stability was not something you could always count on from outside. And now people look at you and see someone who handles everything. What they do not see is the child who had no other option. 6. You feel everything at a frequency most people cannot access. Music stops you in the middle of whatever you are doing. Injustice does not just bother you, it physically affects you. A small kindness from a stranger can move you in a way that takes you completely by surprise. This emotional depth is not fragility. The amygdala, which processes emotional experience, becomes highly sensitized through repeated emotional activation in early life. The result is a person who does not just observe the world. They feel it, completely, in ways that are sometimes overwhelming and sometimes the most beautiful thing about being alive. 7. You do not trust easily. But when you do, it is one of the most deliberate and profound decisions a person can make. Your threshold for trust is simply higher than most people's. Psychologists call this adaptive skepticism. Your brain learned early that not all signals of safety were genuine, so it built filters, careful ones, and those filters, while sometimes isolating, mean that the trust you do extend is never casual, never automatic. It is chosen, consciously, deliberately, with full awareness of what it costs. And that makes it one of the most valuable things you can give someone. 8. Rest feels uncomfortable to you. When things go quiet, the mind does not follow. It wanders inward. It reviews. It stays alert even when there is nothing left to be alert for. This is the nervous system doing exactly what it was conditioned to do. Stay ready. The painful irony is that the very intelligence that was built by your past requires active and deliberate effort to unwind. Learning to rest for someone with traumatic intelligence is not laziness. It is one of the most courageous things you can do. It is telling your nervous system, for the first time, that the threat has passed, and you're allowed to put it down now. 9. You carry a sense of meaning that most people spend their whole lives searching for. You do not move through life casually. You have looked closely at pain, both your own and others. You have sat with the hard questions that most people spend their lives carefully avoiding. And something in you has refused to let any of it be meaningless. Research on post-traumatic growth shows that people who navigate genuine adversity often emerge with a philosophical clarity about what actually matters. That simply cannot be taught in any other way. You did not choose the curriculum, but you learned things that most people never will. Here is what I want you to sit with after this video ends. Traumatic intelligence is not something to celebrate at the expense of acknowledging what it cost you. The pain was real. The difficulty was real. The things you carried before you were old enough to understand why. Those were real too. But so is this. The way you read people. The way you feel the world. The way you stay calm when everything breaks. The way you love carefully and deeply and with your whole self when you finally decide someone is safe. These are not coincidences. They are the architecture of a mind that had to grow fast, and did. You were not just wounded by your past. You were also built by it. And what was built is remarkable. If this felt like something you have needed to hear for a long time, subscribe. This channel exists for exactly that kind of understanding. See you next Sunday.